The minister hesitated. His words had the meaning, but not the music, and the moment needed music to send a troubled nation soaring to new heights, new hopes. A voice behind him said, "Tell them about the dream, Martin." "I have a dream today," said Martin Luther King, and the minister found the music.
I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed.
He was one of millions whose spirit was lifted by the voice of Mahalia Jackson, who was recalling an earlier speech. By 1963, when King's speech ended the historic Civil Rights March on Washington, she was the Queen of Gospel, the most famous and powerful black woman in America for her stardom and civil rights activism. The New York Times called her a woman on fire, moving her listeners to ecstasy. In 1962, the Grammys created the gospel category specifically for Mahalia Jackson. But beneath her majestic contralto beat the humble heart of a hard-luck New Orleans girl who found haven and purpose in the small shanty church down the road. "Ever since I began singing in the big concert halls, people have been trying to teach me to be grand," she said, "but I just can't do it."
Oh, save my soul from a burning hell. Said he would calm the raging sea. Said he would, said he would.
Mahalia had a Cinderella childhood without the glass slippers. Born in 1911, her single mother died when she was 6, leaving her to a stern aunt who treated her more as a domestic than daughter, whipping Mahalia whenever she found dust, passing her to neighbors for their chores. Singing was her refuge, mimicking her blues hero Bessie Smith while working. Hearing Mahalia sing, a friendly aunt said, "Haley, don't you worry, you gonna be famous and walk with kings and queens." In church, she felt valued, soloing in choir, thrilled when the pastor let her ring the big bell, swaying and clapping to what she called the jump-happy gospel style of local black churches. At 16, another aunt invited her to Chicago, where she joined a gospel quartet performing in churches that held special collections for them, which were split with the pastor.
I feel like shouting!
Mahalia was increasingly invited to sing solo. While most worshipers loved her jump-happy exuberance, some city folk found it too secular, too Saturday night. When one congregation clapped along, its pastor scolded Jackson for bringing blues grooves into the church. She replied with Psalm 47, "Oh, clap your hands, all ye people, shout unto the Lord with the voice of a trumpet." In short, take it up with your boss. Her rise began as featured singer for gospel songwriting legend Thomas A. Dorsey, who was putting contemporary grooves to his hymns. Together they launched what is still called the Golden Age of Gospel. But Mahalia always correctly insisted those backbeat grooves were not modern or secular, but rooted in ancient black tradition. She described her childhood congregation who sang with their whole bodies, had a beat, a rhythm we held on to from slavery days. So I say, don't let the devil steal the beat from the Lord. Mahalia gained crossover stardom with her 1948 million-seller Move On Up a Little Higher. She was soon a household name, singing on national TV, headlining Carnegie Hall, touring the world, singing for kings and queens. Her humble roots charmed audiences. When Carnegie Hall started getting jump-happy, she said, "We'd best remember where we are. If we cut up too much, they might put us out." Jackson preferred simple church-like piano accompaniment that let her build emotion. She disliked tight arrangements or time limits. In church, she'd explain, "They don't stop me until the Lord comes." She refused to perform nightclubs because she thought it sinful to praise the Lord where liquor was served. She turned down $15,000 a week at the Village Vanguard and $50,000 for one night in Las Vegas. Still, she was a hard-nosed businesswoman, often insisting on cash up front. Do I get paid or do I get a taxi? Churches were charged whatever they could afford, however, and civil rights events, nothing. She said, "I don't charge the walking people." worldwide fame did not ease the pain of a segregated America. "All these white people tell me how wonderful I am," she said, "but when I'm walking down the street, I can't get a sandwich, a bottle of pop, and I'm the same Mahalia." After meeting Martin Luther King in 1956, Jackson increasingly lavished her stardom on others, creating a college fund for poor kids and becoming such an activist, many called her the voice of the civil rights movement. Which is why she was seated behind Dr. King on that historic day. He'd asked her to sing before he spoke, not a jump-happy hymn, but the mournful spiritual "I've been buked, I've been scorned" that her slave-born grandfather knew, never dreaming his little Haley could become a household name, the Queen of Gospel. She lit up dark places, warmed up cold places, Jesse Jackson said, and she helped change America. To Thomas A. Dorsey, Mahalia Jackson's genius was simple. She enjoyed her religion.